Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cozy Soul Knitting Podcast. I'm Saoirse and this is where I talk about my knitting. I have already started sneezing being around all this fiber. I feel like when I get all of my projects together, there's just bits of fiber coming off, and of course I'm wearing a mohair sweater, so that probably doesn't help. So it's been a little bit since my last episode. One of the reasons for this was because I just sort of got, sorry if my voice is a little raspy again. I feel like the fiber is just already making me a little irritated. One of the reasons that it's been a while was just because I got off schedule with filming and with editing videos, and it's just taken me a bit to get back into any sort of routine with that, and I just haven't gotten back into a routine. The other thing is that I was gonna film last week on Wednesday, November 6th. I did not end up filming that day because of course I was in no mood with how the election went. My emotions are all over the place, and when I talk about this stuff I tend to get very heated, and so that's why I feel personally like I'm not the best person to talk about this stuff, because like I will rant, I will go on tangents, I will lose my train of thought and ramble. I want to talk about knitting now. Okay, so let's talk first about what I'm currently wearing, and it's blue. And you know, I actually didn't intend all that. It's just very gloomy out today, and I threw on my Never sweater because it is so cozy. It's very oversized, very cozy, but I love that it's blue. Love that synchronicity. So this is a pattern by Kalilah, who is a YouTuber, you know, knitting content creator. I will have her channel linked down below. If you don't already know her, please go follow her. This was her first ever sweater design pattern, and it will of course be linked in the description as well to Ravelry, but it is just a very oversized raglan. I did test knit this for her. When was this? Was this last year? I think. And I knit mine in Drops Kid Silk and Drops Flora in the shade Petrol. And it's gorgeous and I love it so much. It is one of the coziest things that I own, and I knew as soon as I saw it that I wanted to test knit it for her, and I'm so glad that I got to. And yeah, if you like knitting, she's doing a lot of knitting vlogs right now, so go check her out. And what else do I want to say? Yeah, I like the yarn combination too. I feel like it's held up well, and it's nice. It is a little, like, you can feel the mohair, but to me it's not itchy. I think if you're a little bit more sensitive than I am, it might feel a little itchy, but like if you're wearing, like, I have a short sleeve shirt on underneath this, so I can feel it on my arms and a little bit up here, but like it's not bad. So, but if you were more sensitive, this is a sweater that you would most likely be wearing. You could, I mean, easily wear something underneath it with long sleeves and to like protect yourself from the itchiness, or you could also just not knit it in mohair, of course, as well. If you have any questions about this, you can let me know. I don't want to talk too much about it because it has been on the podcast before, but like I said, definitely go check out Kali. And I think she changed her YouTube channel to like Knits by Kali or Knits with Kali. I'm not sure right now. My brain's not working. But again, like I said, I will have her linked down below. So let's get into finished objects first. Try not to like show them. Okay, so the first project that I have to show you, my first finished object, it has not been blocked. I've kind of just forgot to ever block it. I will. It's just like I finished it and I was so pleased that I finished it that I completely forgot about blocking. Okay, so here it is. Oh, the camera, it's like, I don't know, is it showing up on camera? Oh yeah, okay. This is my, what is this called? The Go Dynamo shawl. This was the mystery shawl knit along. So I knit this, what was it? Cascade Heritage in the highlighter Guava shade. The number for the shade for the colorway will be in the description. And then the other yarn that I used was this one right here, which is from Farmer's Daughter. It's their Foxy Lady, and I believe the colorway name is A Case of You. And then for some of the sections, I did pair it with some green mohair that was left over from my Oslo sweater, and it was the Mayflower Super Kid Silk, I think is what it's called. And it was in the shade Pesto. And again, I think I will also have to leave the number for that shade, for that colorway, in the description box, because I don't know if they always have the names listed. But yeah, I decided to do the optional border. I had a ton of yarn left over. I still have quite a bit. I think I will potentially be using in like socks. So I did do this kind of like wavy extra border here, and I did the I-cord bind off with the contrast color, the white color, with the mohair. Okay, so this project is very much a case of trust the process, because I think after clue 3 I was sitting there and I was just like, this looks crazy. This just looks like so many random things just like smushed together. Don't know if I like it, but then I finished it and I was like, oh, I love it. I love the shape that it created, and yeah, I don't know. I still am not really sure how to like style and wear shawls in a way that I like. So these are mostly gonna be for me to like bundle up in when I'm home and I'm cold. But I really like this one, and it weirdly is giving a bit Christmassy. Does anyone else agree? Like, I don't know, something about the pink and white was kind of giving me like kind of pepperminty vibes. I know like peppermint is usually like, you know, like the peppermint like hard candies are like white and red, but like I don't know, I feel like white and pink also kind of give pepperminty vibes, and then the green I feel like made it look Christmassy. So I don't know if anyone else agrees, but I'm kind of thinking of this as like my Christmas shawl. So anyways, that was the Go Go Dynamo shawl by West Knits, and it was so much fun. And I think I was, as the election was like wrapping up and stuff, I was heavily knitting on this to like manage stress, and it was really a great project for that. So that was really nice to have, and focused on finishing it up and taking a break from a lot of other things. So that's my West Knits shawl for the 2024 MKAL. Didn't take a full year this time around to finish that, which is nice. So yeah, and then before we get into whips, at least the ones that I'm going to show you, I do want to mention I'm still working on the button band for the Leith cardigan. I know, please don't judge me. This was taking a lot of my time because I wanted to stay on top of the clues and everything, and the button bands are so boring. I'm sorry, they're just so boring. I would get it finished. It's almost there. I'm getting to a point where I'm gonna need to block it again and then start steaming it to like figure out if I need to add more length or not. And then another thing I wanted to update on is that I tried on my Blooming Lavender socks after the last podcast. They do not fit. I cannot get them over my heels because of the floats, which is very upsetting. I realize in retrospect, in hindsight, I should have been trying them on as I went, and I could have, you know, realized and went back, and yeah, but it's on both. So even the one that I knit inside out to make sure that there was not that weird puckering issue, even that one does not fit over my heels. So I am unsure what I will be doing with these. I don't know if I will frog them. I don't know if I will try to find someone who can fit into them. Don't know. Not sure. But they were my first ever colorwork socks, so you know, they were a learning experience for sure, and I will not be making that mistake on future ones. Anyways, I don't know if it was my yarn choice. This is a stock yarn, so you'd think it would be okay. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't think I was knitting, like especially when I was knitting inside out, I thought that that would be like safe. If you have any suggestions, I mean, I was like, I could try to block it again and be like really aggressive about it. But I mean, I just feel like if floats are too tight, they're just too tight. I just feel like that there's not a whole lot you can do about it. It may stretch out over time, but like, if I can't actually get it on my foot, it's not gonna really stretch anyways that much. So, anyways, I'm going to show you my next pair of colorwork socks, and I'm going to kind of explain a few things. So I don't remember if in my last episode I had already casted these on Magic Loop, but I had originally casted this on Magic Loop, and then I ended up frogging it and starting over. And starting over on 9-inch circulars. So remember, yes, oh I do remember talking about it. So I was going to try to knit these on 9-inch circulars the first time because of not really loving doing Magic Loop with colorwork socks, and that's when I discovered that if I am knitting a sock with an 8-inch circumference, 9-inch circulars doesn't mathematically make sense. And also to point out as well, the other pair of needles that I have are these from Addie, and these are actually 10-inch circulars, so even more of an issue. Why, if I cast on the small size of socks, it's just not gonna work. And obviously that's something that feels very obvious, but like I didn't think about it. So I am now knitting the second size, because I was knitting these with the Magic Loop, and that's when I tried on these, realized I could not get them on, and I was like, well, if I knit them on 9-inch circulars, maybe my floats will not be so tight. And I did manage to, I transferred all of these stitches onto my longer sock knitting needles so I could try this on, and it does go over my heel, so far so good. I'm gonna try it on again before I start the heel to make sure that the leg with all the color work will fit. I am also knitting the second size in this pattern, and by the way, I'm sorry, I didn't say this earlier, this is the the yarn is from the Pumpkin Chunkin Moonglow Yarn Co set, and then the pattern is the Hey There Pumpkin socks, and I will have more information on the screen. So yes, so I'm knitting the second size, and I can't remember if I went up. I am using 2.5mm needles, and the reason that I decided to do this is because I was watching Whitney from Moonglow Yarn Co knitting on these, and I remember her mentioning on one of her posts that she knits looser on 9-inch circulars than she does on Magic Loop, and I was like, well, that would be nice because I need to knit looser for these socks to fit. And so yeah, so we'll see how these continue to go. I haven't made a ton of progress on them, considering, well, yeah, I mean, I've tried to cast this on twice. This is my third time casting on, and the other two times, you know, of course I had to like, you know, rip back. Well, the first time I didn't really have to rip back because like I couldn't join it around to begin with, and then when I did it on Magic Loop, I don't think this far, I didn't get this far, but I ripped it back because I could already tell that it was going to be too tight. So I'm hoping that this will work out better and keep you updated. And I am going to, even though Halloween is over, I'm still going to be knitting on these. It's, you know, it's not been Thanksgiving yet, so it's still kind of, you know, it's still autumn, still, you know, the right season to be working on this. But even if I'm knitting on these in December, in January, and February, I'm going to keep knitting on them because I really just want to not have them be sitting for like a whole year. I want to like get them done and see how they work and learn what I need to learn from this pair of colorwork socks and move on to my next pair. My next project, I'm using Patton's Classic Wool Worsted in the pumpkin pie shade, or just pumpkin? I think it's just pumpkin. Here's my progress. So I've joined in the round. I can't remember where I was at last time, but I've joined in the round and I've done quite a bit on the body. Well, I've done a good amount on the body. I did do the bust shaping, and for my cup size, bust shaping was just a few German short rows in the front, and it was very easy, very quick to get through. So definitely something I feel much more confident knitting now. This is the, sorry I didn't say, getting tired. This is the Sunset Sweatshirt by Jessie Made Designs, and yeah, it's just kind of a drop shoulder sweatshirt looking sweater, and it has like some shoulder shaping that's a little bit different rather than the what's it called, like back shaping. So like the neck and back I feel like are the same height, but like the shoulders sit higher because of the shaping that you do. So a little bit of a different construction for me, but now I'm just, you know, knitting in the round stockinette, and it's been nice. I took this with me when I was taking my mom around to run errands, and I had to kind of sit in the car and wait for her for a little bit. So I was knitting on this, and it's been a nice one to just kind of pick up and work on whenever I need something easy. I would love to get this one done in autumn so I can wear it, because it's like the perfect autumn colors, but I'm not in as much of a rush right now. And then sticking with my orange colored whips, I need to wind up another hank of this yarn to get back into this project. Let me make sure I'm showing you the right. There we go. So this is my Faye Summer Top. This is by Irene Lynn, and I'm knitting this in I literally say this wrong every single time. I'm knitting it in Pearl Soho's Good Wool, and I keep wanting to say like pure or pearl wool, and like I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, this is where I'm at. It's a lot of texture. I've really been enjoying it. It's got baubles, cables, lace. It's very, very pretty. I'm excited to kind of see it once it's blocked and like relaxed a little bit more, because it's kind of, the texture is kind of pulling it in, but making good progress on it. And yeah, I've connected in the round and gotten not very far, but that's okay. So we'll continue to work on this. This one is gonna be a little bit chaotic to show you. So this is my framed sweater by Andrea Mowry. I'm knitting this in Spin Cycles Dream State, Dream State, and then Spinster's Daughter worsted for the solid colors. So that's what it's looking like. This is the front, I think. Unsure. Yes, I think that's the one I'm working on first, is the front panel. And if you can tell, like I just split it into the front and back panels. So back panel stitches are on this cord here. So yeah, it is a bottom up, all over colorwork sweater, and then you have to work colorwork flat, which I've only done like a few rows. It was very nerve-wracking. So yeah, so what I'm doing is basically I'm knitting the right side rows as normal, where I'm doing like I'm holding the contrast color, the Dream State, in my right hand, and the blue color in my left hand, and knitting that continental style, obviously throwing with the contrast color. And then yeah. And then for the wrong side rows, when I'm purling, I just pick up and drop the color and purl English style because I don't know how to purl continental and it looks really hard and messy. And I feel like this will be the best thing to have the most even tension for me. So kind of see how it all works out. I don't know. Part of me wants to like knit like a good section of it and then kind of like block this whole thing and see if my tension is gonna be fine, because down here it is puckering a bit, but I don't know, for me I feel like it will block out. But with this now I'm like all of a sudden worried about my color work, even though I've never had an issue with it and it'll fit. I'm just like worried that the puckering won't block out. And then for some reason up here it wasn't puckering as much, so I'm not really sure what's happening. But I think it's gonna block out. I'm pretty sure it'll block out. If it doesn't, we'll address it then maybe. But I might block it, or maybe I try to steam block it, though I haven't had a lot of good luck with that. But I may try to like steam block it and just see if it kind of relaxes, and then go from there. Because yeah, there's just like some weird puckering issues. I'm not really sure why, but whatever. Trust the process. So it looks fine on camera, I feel like, unless it gets really close. But I can see the motif better on camera than I can in person, and I think that's just because it hasn't been blocked. So, but yeah, I guess you can tell me if you can kind of see that. Do you think it'll block out? I think it'll block out. And some of it, I don't know if it's because this ribbing is kind of pulling the fabric in. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. This is an experiment, and it's a little bit outside my comfort zone. So we'll just have to view it as a learning experience. I definitely have some other projects that like my socks. I have vanilla socks that I did make some progress on, but these are my vanilla socks. I'm knitting these in Schoppel, one of the Schoppel Zauberballs. So I don't know where the tag for it is. I can't remember if this is one of the crazy Zauberballs or just one of the regular Zauberballs. I will have it in the description. But I have finished one sock tube. There's obviously no heel. I am going to do an afterthought heel, and yeah, we have one down, so that's nice. Finally got that finished. The laddering on this is a bit atrocious. Atrocious? Why does that sound like I said that wrong? Just kind of show you. See, oh god, look at that laddering. I feel like my laddering with commercial sock yarn is always so much worse than like hand-dyed yarn. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like, I just don't know why that is, but I'm thinking I'm going to, the next time I use yarn like this, I think I'm gonna knit it on 9-inch circulars. I hate the ladders so much. They're so ugly, and it just seems like with this type of yarn, even if I really try hard to not have the laddering issue, it still happens. Anyways, I have started my next one. Got the cuff done. Oh my gosh. And I'm working now on the leg. And I feel like again, the laddering, like it starts out not being an issue. Like, I don't know if you can see that. Like, not really an issue. Not really an issue. And then all of a sudden, it just starts to become an issue somehow. And I don't like it. And I've tried every trick in the book. Every single one, I feel like. And I feel like with hand-dyed yarn, it's usually not as noticeable, if I do my little tricks to like try to minimize it. Like if I show you here, for example, on this sock, which I still need to block, like it's there, but it's not as bad. I'm just gonna move on. So again, I have some other random whips I think that I just have not done anything with in quite some time, so I will not be sharing progress on those, but I did cast something new on. In my last podcast episode I talked about how I was going to do a birthday cast on. I actually didn't end up doing that because, oh my goodness, because I kind of, so let me pause for a minute. I kind of forgot to do the gauge swatch, so I realized I needed to do the gauge swatch on my birthday, so I started the gauge swatch, but then I was bored and I was like, I want to do something exciting, so I just went back to a different project. So I did not get a birthday cast on, but I did do the swatch for the Kip sweater that was going to be my birthday cast on, but we'll talk about that later. But then on Halloween, I decided I had to cast something on, something new, so I casted on the Wood Witch wrap. That's crazy to try to say. So here it is, making progress on it. This is, oh my gosh, I think it's by Rachel Keener. I will have it up on the screen, I might be wrong. This is using yarn from Moonglow Yarn Co. It was Whitney's, what was this called? Like the Woodland Witch collection, if I'm not mistaken. Very flick fall colors, lots of greens and purples, which I love. So I am very excited about this. So this is a section of eyelets here, then this section here. So each section, so like, sorry. So there's these garter strips for the main color, and then each contrast color has like a different panel of texture. So this, we have like some lace eyelets here. The pattern calls this, sorry, it's kind of blown out. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but jacquard, really cool design there. And then this one, the pattern was referring to it as ridges. This one was really fun and meditative to do. I mean, they were all fun. I loved all of them. And then this one up here, I haven't gotten very far, but this is the smocking section, which I feel like I have done a variation of all of these at some point or another. So I'm not feeling like any of it is like too hard or anything, but if you wanted to just like have a pattern where you can try out a lot of different things, like a lot of different types of texture, this is a really fun pattern for that. It's kind of like a texture sample, or like sampling of texture type situation where you're just gonna do a little bit of each of these different types of texture. And yeah, so if there's any sections that you like don't love, you're not spending a ton of time on them, but you get to kind of get that experience. And yeah, so I am a little bit under gauge on this project. That's kind of my only critique, is that this pattern does not specifically tell you what to do your gauge swatch in. And it's my understanding that if a pattern does not tell you what to gauge swatch in, the default is normally stockinette. However, there is no stockinette in this. There's garter and then the textured bits. And so I swatched in garter and I couldn't hit gauge. I was kept being under gauge. I kept having, you know, essentially like too many stitches per gauge, but I figured since I was knitting at a tighter gauge that I wouldn't run the risk, hopefully, of using up more of the yarn, because the pattern designer did say that you need to be careful about gauge with this pattern because she designed it specifically to use up a lot of the yarn. So you want to make sure that you have, you know, a good amount. So you want to make sure that you're on gauge. But I think because I'm under gauge, like because my gauge is tighter, I assume I would be like using less yarn because it's smaller, and so then I hopefully should be okay. But yeah, so anyways, this is a really fun pattern. I'm knitting it at US 8 needles. And I think I even went up to like US 10 and I still wasn't hitting gauge, and I was like, this is just gonna create such a funky looking fabric. I don't like it. I'm hoping it'll, oh god, I just dropped all the yarn out of my bag. I'm hoping it'll be okay. This is such a fun pattern. I'm really enjoying it. I think I worked on it for like 3 days straight. I feel like accessory knitting right now has just been really good for my mental health because I don't know, for some reason it's just like I can just pick it up and go. I don't have to worry about like sizing and things like that. I'm like trying it on as I go or anything like that. So I feel like it's just been easier for me to pick up and start knitting on with my mental state being what it is. Those are, oh, the battery's about to die. I'm gonna go change the battery and then we will come back and we'll talk about my future plans, and I have some birthday yarn that I bought. I did swatch for the Kip sweater. This is in Durham Natura Ulysse. It's in the shade that translates to the word maple. I feel like I cannot pronounce properly. So here's the texture, really, really cool. Kind of reminds me of the Wood Witch wrap, the jacquard section. I don't know if this is also called that, but it's done with slipping stitches, with like the yarn in front on the right side and the yarn in back on the wrong side. I have not blocked this. I swatched it and I like put it somewhere and I completely forgot about it, so I haven't blocked it, and I do feel like I am under gauge, so I really needed to block it, see if this would bloom. I'm definitely a tighter knitter than, sorry, this is a pattern, this Kip sweater by Rebecca Clow. I'm definitely a tighter knitter than she is. I always have to, in fact, I always go up a needle size for swatching just immediately with her patterns because I know that I'm a tighter knitter. And this yarn is a bit different. I think I knit this at on US 9s, and this is a, I'm gonna say this is a sport weight yarn, so it kind of felt like weird. And so I need to block this, see how it blooms, see how it grows, see if I hit gauge that way. Obviously, once I do that, I will be casting that sweater on, and now that I've seen it, I'm like, okay, I need to block you, I need to block the shawl, I need to block my leaf button band. So now on to acquisitions. I'll try to be kind of quick. This was a while ago, but I had to do the thing where I put it in the freezer, let it be there for a few days, take it out of the freezer, put it back in the freezer for a few days. So this is thrifted yarn, and I don't see any bugs in the bag, so I'm gonna open it. So this is Rowan Cotton Cashmere, and I found this at the, what is it called? Like the Seattle Recreative, I think is what it's called. It's in, or at least they have one location in Greenwood in Seattle if you're in the area, and they had a whole thing of yarn there. And I've been wanting something in this color, so I went ahead and I bought this because Rowan Cotton Cashmere is probably not something I would want to buy full price. So I have 6 balls, and I feel like I can knit a summer tee in this probably next spring or summer, and that'll be really nice. So thrifted yarn. Very exciting. So I did end up going to Bainbridge Island with my 3 best friends for my birthday. We took the ferry. So if you're familiar with the area, we went to Edmonds, took the ferry, the Kingston ferry, and then drove to Bainbridge because that was just the easiest thing for us to do instead of going into Seattle to take the Bainbridge ferry. But it was so nice. I hadn't been on a ferry in so long, and they're so cool. I just really enjoy the ferry rides, and it's such a nice day. It didn't really, like, it sprinkled a little bit here and there, but it didn't really like rain a ton that day, and so we got to walk around and it was just beautiful. It was like fall. I'm gonna put a couple clips in, like just fall leaves. It was so beautiful. Bainbridge, I have not been to Bainbridge since, I honestly don't know when. I know that I've been there before, but as like a child, I don't remember ever going as an adult, so it's been a while, and I just enjoyed it. It's such a cute area and just so beautiful, and it has 2 two yarn stores. The first yarn store I stopped into was Lamb & Kid, and I was overwhelmed in that store. There was so much to look at, and I didn't really know what I wanted there except for some spin cycle yarn. So all I ended up getting from Lamb & Kid was spin cycle. I definitely, I think, because I just didn't know what I wanted to get. And their other yarn, I mean, yeah, all of the yarn there I feel like is a bit pricey. It makes sense. But I just, for the price point, I was like, I just don't want to buy something that I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet. But I did have an idea for, I wanted to make the Harlow hat by Andrea Mowry, and so I picked up some spin cycle. This is in the Rusted Rainbow shade, so I just, yeah, picked that out at the store, and I just got the one skein because I think that's all the hat needs. And then I knew that they had this yarn, and this had been like a color combination that I had been wanting to do for the Harlow hat like for a while. And I did have like another spin cycle colorway in mind that they didn't have at the store, but I couldn't remember what it was called. And I don't know, I just really liked this one, and so I don't know, I like the color combination that I came up with. At La Mercerie, I picked up some Dram Natura, I'm gonna butcher this, Albertine. I'm sure that there's that there's a different way to say that. But I picked this up, and this is like a teal shade. It kind of is a little bit darker than my sweater right now, but kind of a similar vibe. And this is in the color Cypress. Again, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, this is gonna be the Harlow hat. So there is some teal in here, so there might be sections of the hat that don't have a ton of contrast, but I'm okay with it because this is like moody and beautiful. La Mercerie also had quite a bit of yarn that I was looking at, and there's so many things that I could have purchased there, that there's so many beautiful things, but I ended up going with this because hello, beautiful. I feel like I'm entering maybe a new era of color, but green, don't worry, green, you are still my favorite. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. But I feel like I am kind of getting into like an autumn red phase. But I picked up some La Bien-Aimée Corey Worsted in the color Kitsune or Kitsune. I don't know how to say it. Apologies. But this is the color that I got, and oh, and there was like, okay, we were in La Mercerie for forever because originally I was looking to go there to get some Gilead from Dram Natura, but none of their shades in the Gilead looked, again, probably saying all of these names wrong, none of the shades looked like, they all looked very cool toned for some reason, specifically in that weight of yarn, and I don't know, I don't look good in cool tones. I'm really trying to no longer buy cool toned yarn, which sometimes is hard online because like sometimes it looks like maybe it would be warm tone and then it's not, or you know, you think it'll be neutral, but then it ends up being a little like leans more cool toned. Anyways, so I wanted to get the Gilead yarn to use for the Ferndale cardigan, I believe is what it's called. I saw Jenny from Honeyberg Studio make that, and I was like, oh, it's so beautiful, I want one. And I believe that the yarn she uses, or that pattern calls for, is the Dram Natura Gilead. But I didn't like any of the colors that they had, and I think La Mercerie has all of the colors, but I just didn't like any of them. And so then I was looking around and I was like, oh, well, Corey Worsted. I'll make it in this. So I bought enough yarn to make the Ferndale cardigan in the Corey Worsted. And then when I looked up the yarn more and like looked at it closer, this apparently is not a worsted weight yarn. It is a DK weight yarn. The worsted refers to how it's spun, not the weight. I could have looked at like the yardage and maybe actually looked at like the, you know, this and been like, yeah, this is more of a DK. But I don't know, I just thought Corey worsted and I was like, that's a worsted weight. I don't know, I'm not good at yarn weights yet. I feel like they're, I don't know. Sorry. So anyways, so then I got nervous. I was like, well, I can't use this for the cardigan, so now I don't know what to use it for. I mean, obviously I will find something, but yeah, I was like, oh man, like, dang it. But then, weirdly enough, when you go to the Ferndale cardigan to look at the yarn suggestions, the one that people used, like I think the second most amount of times for that cardigan on Ravelry was still this yarn. So it was like the first one was obviously the Gilead, because that's like the suggested yarn, but then the second most popular yarn for that pattern is this yarn. So I was like, interesting, I could still use this. So I don't know if I will or not. I might have to like swatch and see and figure it out, but obviously I'll be using it for something, some sweater or cardigan. If you use this yarn for a project, let me know what you used it. Kind of confused myself because I think I was just getting overwhelmed because we had already been in the shop for like so long, and two of my friends that were with me were not knitters or crocheters, so like they, you know, they're kind of just like there like for the vibes, and so I could tell that they were like kind of getting bored and we were all kind of getting hungry and stuff, so I was like, okay, like I need to wrap this up. And then I was like, so I don't know, and I saw worsted and I just didn't really think to look into it anymore. So that is it for the knitting portion. If you want to stick around, I might just chat a little bit. I wanted to just let everyone know, if you didn't see my community post a while back, I did start another YouTube channel. It is for my writing. It's an AuthorTube channel. If you like writing vlogs and you want to go hang out with me over there, it'll be linked in the description. But if that's not really your type of content, don't feel like you have to go and subscribe, because if you're not going to watch the videos and you go and subscribe, that's like doesn't help out the channel. Do you know what I mean? So don't worry about it if it's not really your thing, but I just wanted to put that out there for anybody who likes that type of content, or if you're a reader and you kind of want to get more behind the scenes of my writing journey and all of that. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of writing recently and really trying to focus on like building a writing community, and it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I don't know really what else, like I've just been writing and knitting and hanging out with friends. One of my best friends got married last weekend. That was crazy. It was so much fun. Her wedding was very like, food was so good, the dancing was so much fun, and just all of it was a good time. So yeah, I feel like there's not really a ton else to report. I've just been in a little bit of a weird headspace. I'm sure like many of you, it's like you'll go do something fun and you'll be like, oh, this is great, and then you kind of like, your mind wanders back to like what's going on in the world, and you're like, oh. So it's kind of lots of ups and downs. It's been very odd, but I'm just trying to, again, like I mentioned, just trying to continue to create and continue to do the things, you know, that I'm being called to do and all of that. So I think that's where I'll leave it. I hope that you all are doing well, taking care of yourself, doing things for yourself to refill your cup, and hopefully you're taking care of yourself. Hopefully you're getting lots of knitting time in to help with stress and anxiety. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of my community, especially those of you who like chat with me in the comments, and I just really, really appreciate you. And anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will really, really try to be back in 2 weeks to update you and reminding myself to get the leaf cardigan finished, because it's so close. It's so close, but it feels so far away at the same time. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in my next knitting podcast. Happy knitting. Bye.
Alright, this is a song that I wrote about falling too fast, but I wouldn't know anything about that.
I don't wanna lose my grounding, so you catch me not responding, and I press my lips together so you don't find any answers.